wankers, Flapjack Bickle here to talk about Netflix Academy Award contender The Power of the Dog, the story of two rancher brothers in 1920s Montana. This is one of those films that has critics slobbering and reaching for the superlatives, while a large section of the audience is muttering "so what" as their eyes glaze over. This is no doubt largely to do with the movie's pace, which is frankly slug-like. Despite being well shot, the first half's about as interesting as watching tumbleweed roll across a prairie, and the story just doesn't really engage. The biggest handicap is that the film's lead character, Phil, is a miserable, mean-spirited asshole. He treats everyone with contempt, bullies his own brother George, and even mistreats his animals. The people around him do seem strangely forgiving, though. When George is discussing an upcoming social event, he urges Phil to attend, saying, "We're counting on your conversation." At first I thought he was taking the piss, since Phil doesn't appear to have any conversation, unless you count grunting inanities and growling insults. Maybe that's what passes for chit-chat in their home, but in truth Phil comes off as nothing more than a charmless shit. In the right role, Benedict Cumberbatch is a good actor, but the casting's way off here. For starters, I don't really buy him as a grizzled rancher, and the walking style that he adopts in the film kind of makes it look like he's just soiled himself. But the real problem is that he mostly plays Phil as a one-note villain, which is what makes him such a chore to watch. The camera fixates on him while his serpent-like face glares and glowers, and I just found myself thinking, I really don't give a fiddler's fuck about this bloke. It's only in the latter part of the story that we learn something about why Phil is so bitter and hateful, but by the time the film picks up momentum, it's too little too late. The other main cast members are all good performers in their own right. Real-life couple Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst play George and his new wife, while the talented Aussie beanpole Cody Smith-McPhee gives a pretty subtle performance as stepson Peter. But Plemons gets totally short-changed by director Jane Campion, who seems to completely lose interest in his character about halfway through the film. If The Power of the Dog does win Best Picture at the Oscars, I suppose it means 2021 was a cinematic graveyard and they didn't have much to choose from. Anyway, if you're going to watch this film, go into it with low expectations and then you can at least avoid crushing disappointment. Well, take it easy, wankers.